We're in today with the HD 5870. This is a 2009 video card with 1600 shaders. It's got 2 GB of VRAM GDDR5, 850 MHz on the core clock and 1200 MHz on the memory clock. 256 bits bus width, DirectX 11, and we're gonna pair it up with this E5 2699 V4 with 22 cores and 22 threads with hyperthreading disabled. This is the Eyefinity model that has 2 GB of VRAM, but today I got 2 of them enabled in Crossfire, and the best thing we can do for this setup, jump in a couple of games and see how it holds. Let's go. So first thing, I want to start with GTA 5 because of the flickering. I don't want to bother you with flickering. It does work in Crossfire, so you can actually see both of the cores are being utilized. Put it on only on 40% and it sounds like a vacuum cleaner. Seriously, imagine put it on 100% fan speed. It'll be like, let's see how it's performing. I got 1080p normal details with DirectX 10 because I want to see the maximum performance the Crossfire can do. The difference between AMD and Nvidia in SLI versus Crossfire does pull the VRAM. So if I reach 2 GB of VRAM, it's gonna go above 2 GB until it's 4000 megabytes of VRAM. Let's see, does it pass 2 GB of VRAM? And it goes up and it keeps going up and up. Look at that, 2100 already. I got 80-90% load on the video cards. That's actually good. 58 degrees is still on the good temperature because I don't want to max out the fan because I cannot hear myself. All right, so nearly 3 GB of VRAM utilization. That's actually fantastic, and the temperature sits around 60 degrees. I will take it. 60 degrees, it's okay. I like the performance. Apparently, this is a very decent number that I'm getting from this setup. So yes, based on the wattage, based on the FPS, I will say GTA 5, it's one of those games that need to be put on a setup like this. Does it run Crysis? Well, of course. I maxed out everything on the details aside from motion blur. I don't really like motion blur and I like it very crispy, seriously. It looks fantastic, it's running fantastic. I got 2.2 GB of VRAM utilization, but only 80-90% load on the cores of the video card. That means the threads on the CPU. We need to find a different type of CPU so I can push more performance on this. Seriously, it's a very fantastic setup. Apparently, even in Crysis, I get all kinds of problems, but in this situation, I got, look at the wattage, nearly 480 watts consumption from this setup. It's good. It delivers, it's running, there is an option. I will say this setup is very balanced. It's like, look, it's reaching 98% load on the cores, 90 FPS, you know, 480 watts in some cases it's consuming. The setup, it's balanced between the CPU and the GPU. I got nice FPS in Crysis. You can actually see there is room for VRAM to grow, just in case you're playing around, you look at the detail, you say, oh my god, look how nice Crysis looks, seriously, and you're like, you know what, look at this, 493 watts consumption, nearly 500 watts consumption from this computer. This is an awesome game that runs on this setup. Let me explain. So I maxed out everything on 1080p. I barely consume under 400 watts because the game is limited here. If I max it out, the GPUs are on only 50% load, yeah, and only 600 megabytes of VRAM utilized here. Only 5.5 GB of system RAM utilized. The CPU has no problem with 10-50% load on the CPU side. I mean, the whole thing is just awesome, you know. This is the type of game that needs to be on a setup like this. If you're interested on actually playing the game with high performance, maximum details, not stressing the CPU, not stressing the GPU, do not consume a lot of wattage because that creates a lot of heat, you know. So in this case, I will say, yeah, it's a fantastic performance. This is the right game for this setup. If you're interested on having hardware like this for all games, think a game like this needs to be on your playlist. So yes, I approve this game because it's the most important thing ever here. In this situation, I will say this is the best. In this game, apparently, I managed to max out everything on 1080p with maximum details. You can actually see the game looks fantastic, you know, but it's the cores on the video card is maxed out. Based on the wattage that I'm consuming, I guess the video card managed to reach the ceiling. 50 FPS with 64 degrees. Unfortunately, I have to put just a little more on the fan speed in order to keep the video card cool. I don't want them to reach 70 degrees because this is ATI. How should I say? They are not known to be cool. They look cool, but they're not cool, you know. So based on the MS, I will say this is a very interesting performance, but not ideal to keep this video card and the system like this. But I just wanted to show you how it's running with maximum detail. This game it's actually fun. Ideal will be to lower the quality here just for me to get a little more FPS. So in this case, the quality is fantastic, the performance it's almost fantastic, but ideal will not be to keep it like this, you know. 40 FPS is not okay. But if we're jumping in Battlefield 4 with this combination, this Crossfire is insane, seriously. Battlefield 4 maximum ultra on 1080p. Look at this, 3.7 gig of VRAM utilization, 7.6 gig of system RAM. There's no problem on the computer side. I got 20% load on the CPU, barely 30-40 FPS on average. This is not okay, you know, the FPS, but I just wanted to show you the maximum performance this system can do. I don't think it can reach 3.9 gig of VRAM. I think putting it to high details or medium details, it will be advisable in this case. I will put it to high details and see how it's doing there. If I can get 60 FPS, it will be much better. I will increase the wattage if I get more FPS. 65 FPS, only 3.4 gig of VRAM utilized here with high details profile. I think this is the right settings here for this combination. Even if I put it on high details, the VRAM managed to go to 3.5, and I think this is important performance. But if we're oh, you know, I would say if you're jumping in Mad Max, but look at the temperature. Be right back. So I managed to max out the fans because I seen the video cards on 77 degrees and I said, no, I'm not having it. I want the GPUs very cool because they are fantastic video cards and I don't want to stress them thermally. So with maximum fan speed, I get under 70 degrees on both of the GPUs. That's very important. 2.5 gig of VRAM with maximum details, 1080p. There is no bugs in the Crossfire. Everything is working and yeah, very stable. Maximum details. Definitely an awesome performance. On the system side, I got 5.6 gig of system RAM being utilized. There is no problem on the CPU side with 39-40 degrees on the CPU. All in all, it's doing a fantastic job. You can actually see the game is utilizing the system very well. Ideal will be to have a lower temperature in this situation, but if you're not maxing out the fan, you will not get those temperature good. Under 20 ms in some cases, nearly 90 FPS. This amount of performance is fantastic and it's on maximum details and I like it. 450 watts consumption to deliver this performance with this quality. The question is, does it reach 3 gig of VRAM or does it stay only on 2.4? Because this is very important. I mean, this Crossfire kit has the ability to put the VRAM together so you can reach 4 gig of VRAM utilization. That's a nice feature to have when you're crossfiring, something that NVIDIA doesn't have, doesn't pull the VRAM, doesn't put it together. And in this case, yeah, I will call this a very awesome performance from this Crossfire. But if we're jumping in Far Cry with this setup on maximum details, you're gonna see the setup using 520 watts. This is banana, seriously. It's utilizing the CPU and the GPU at the same time. 68 degrees. I have to put back on 60% fan speed because I thought I would get away with this, but apparently not. I think I have to just walk around and see how it's doing because I know this game with the CPU and this GPU is gonna balance in between, because sometimes the GPU is bottlenecking, sometimes the CPU is bottlenecking, but in some cases you can see that if you get like 90 FPS, it's gonna utilize both of them. 90% load on the video card, it's actually fantastic. In some cases it's lagging, there's a lot of spikes here and there, but I don't know, maybe when you're transitioning to the map, I don't, it's very interesting, you know. This performance with this video card is fantastic. You have to set up the game in such a way that doesn't overheat your video card, it doesn't consume 520 watts consumption. 60 FPS maybe distress the system by lowering the quality maybe to high details or normal details, because I'm on ultra and I mean, I like the idea of ultra quality in a game like this because look at this, freaking nice quality, and I think this is one of those games that needs to be on your list if you're interested on playing games with Crossfire like this. If you're interested on playing with SLI and Crossfire, this game from Warhammer apparently is fantastic. Space Marine, not 2, number 1. Number 1 is always the best, you know. It's working really nice with Crossfire, with SLI, so in this situation visualization, you can actually see it's not stressing the video card. 85 to nearly 90% load, 90% load on the video card maximum. I will take this as a big win, because on maximum quality with 1080p, the game is doing fantastic. There is no problem on actually playing the game. Even on maximum details, the MS sits properly. Not a lot of VRAM utilization when you're in combat. So all in all, this is a fantastic performance. You know, stays really nice on the temperature because the core is not maxed out. So when you're fighting, the only thing you have to look is the temperature and the MS. In some cases you got a couple of spikes here and there, but that's not something you have to be worried because the setup is actually good in this case. I think the overall performance here with this model of video card is fantastic. A 2009 video card like this with 2 GB of VRAM with DirectX 11 running like this. This is a fantastic video card overall. If you can manage to find one, it will be very ideal to have it on the shelf because it's a very rare video card. You know, it's a very unique video card, and sometimes in the future this one is not going to be on the market and they will become very expensive. This is an awesome performance, like I said, for a video card that is from 2009. Now the problem is the efficiency, that it consumes a lot of wattage in order to deliver this type of performance, because this type of performance can be achieved with a newer video card, even if it's still DirectX 11, but there are more efficient video cards out there on the market that can offer you this performance, and not a lot of heat because it's very hot now in the room because of the video card, because of this Crossfire, you know. So yes, all in all, I like the video card, I like the setup, I really recommend it because it's an OG setup when it comes to Crossfire, but when you're only interested in the games and not interested in something very unique, yeah, will definitely not recommend it. I like it, and I was very happy to manage to benchmark it. I was very happy to show you this setup, how it's performing. If you enjoyed this benchmark, make sure you smash that like button, and if you have any suggestion in the future for this setup or for this Crossfire kit, leave a comment and I will see you very soon.